So there is something special in learning how to let go, right? Um, Life, it just happens, and you don't have control over any of this shit. It just happens, right? So lately I've been thinking about freedom and the I've actually kind of have been delving into like the philosophy of freedom, right? Um, I know this sounds stupid as fuck, or it probably doesn't, but according to if you go by any of the other videos on my channel, like it sounds like a joke, but I'm actually serious about this. So the other day I got hospitalized, right? And I did this treatment, psilocybin treatment. I did 8 grams of psilocybin. And that's how do I even describe? It changed me. That's the first thing that comes to mind to say. It changed me. It There was this one thing that stood out in particular because a lot happens on that 8 gram trip, that experience, right? But the thing that stands out the most, I remember the guide was beside me and it was explaining how freedom of will was an illusion, right? And how none of us really have freedom. Um, And he described at some point, like, you can run around that tree over there for like the rest of your life. And like, that is totally an option. You're free to do that. And I remembered like the profound sense of liberation I felt hearing that. Like, if something as ridiculous as that really and truly is like a possibility, like, it's a legitimate possibility to run around one tree for the rest of your life. I mean, like, many things can happen during that. Like maybe somebody will come and investigate. Yo, why is this dude like just running around this tree 24/7? What's happening? But you can run around that tree. You can just go outside right now and choose to run around a tree for like half an hour, 2 days, 3 days, like however long you can possibly muster. That's possible. And I thought, yo, if I could do that, then like everything else in my life seems just as possible, right? Like go get a wife. It's possible. Like it's possible to go get a wife right now. Um, it's possible to achieve my dreams, so to speak, or to go out and make this or do that. Like a lot of things, like they're in the realm of possibility, and it's just up to you to try to do it. And I remember being profoundly liberated, feeling profoundly liberated in that moment, and you can argue that it was just drug induced, right? But I remember, like, it was that treatment was treatment for like very severe depression, right? So I remember at a later point during that trip, the depression came back unfortunately, and with the depression coming back, there was a like that profound sense of freedom that I had felt like had just left. It was gone completely. And ever since that moment, like after the trip and like when you do something like that, when you do like an 8 gram trip, right? There's a lot of time left afterwards to like contextualize and think back on the experience and what was about everything that happened really. So yeah, for me, it was the main thing was that freedom thing. And I really don't know why, out of everything that happened, that was the thing that stuck the most. So I've actually been writing and in some capacity researching about it, right? So freedom of will is an illusion. That is the first statement. What is meant by that? So here is how I understand it. From your born, right? Ever since you are born, you don't have a choice. You don't choose who you are born to. You don't choose where you are born, and you don't choose when you are born. You are simply thrust into this existence against your own fucking will. The precedent has been set. There is no freedom. And everything from that point My phone just vibrated. Everything from that point is just you reacting to the world and then being formed, being shaped by the world. And it's just one long set of chain reactions of the world acting upon you and you adjusting to that environment, to the world being act upon you, and like that becomes you. You are like, let me try to explain with a story. I've come up with this one, right? So like for example, let's say that every time you mention the word boyfriend around your mother and your mom gets angry, you will learn, okay, don't say the word boyfriend around mommy or else mommy will get angry. Or only say boyfriend when you want to piss her off. And it's like that for everything else. Like the world sets boundaries for like with you and you adjust to that. I mean, some of the way you react to it is up to like physiology, right? Like biologically how your brain is structured. But even that is predetermined. So in this sense, from birth going on, you don't really have a choice in who you become. You are just molded by your environment and you adapt accordingly. Uh, yeah. I think one of the examples that they'll give you on the internet, I looked this up, is for example, let's say that you're hungry, right? And you smell like a taco truck. Your body reacts to the stimulus in the environment. So you smell it, and there's a series of sensations that go through your body that signal to you, go towards that truck, you're hungry, go buy some tacos. And it's said that we are simply observers to our bodies. Like our consciousness is like we think we make the choice, but really and truly we're just observers and our body is already have made the choice, right? You don't necessarily choose what to think, you simply think a thought and it happens. um I honestly feel like I need to like read more about it because I don't feel like I've explained it well enough, and I have a feeling that has something to do with like my understanding of the subject itself. But I have learned that yeah, none of us are free. Like true freedom is not attainable unless you are like literally God. The thing that I have been concerned with is not true freedom. It's the feeling of being free. Like I remember very vividly that with that sense of liberation, that sense of freedom, it felt like I was capable of doing what I wanted to do. That I was free to do it. I had later written, because like journaling is one of the ways that I reflect on these things, is that in that moment I felt like I had a will to act upon the world than be subjected to the wills of the world itself. That sums it up perfectly. And ever since then I've been just trying to figure it out, you know? I've been thinking like, okay, so if we really are a culmination of just these reactions that we have been shaped by our environment that we don't really have much of a choice in, at least in the earlier stages of life, to achieve like some level of freedom, like what would it take? Would it take like becoming conscious of how we have been shaped and then choosing to change? Will that actually lead to a sense of freedom? um there was this thing I was wondering, if being conscious of the choices that lead to us being feeling trapped and then choosing to change, like making a conscious choice not to make those same decisions over and over again, will that then lead to freedom? And I just don't know. I don't know. I don't think I feel. Right. I don't think I feel trapped on a day-to-day basis, at least anymore. Like, it's partly because of the medications that I'm on, but yeah, is it possible to just feel that sense of self-agency without, being on 8 grams of psilocybin? That is the question that I have been wondering. Is it possible to achieve something even moderately similar so I can feel like I have some kind of self-agency in my own life? Of course, I'm still figuring it out. I'm sorry if some other intellectual has like come up with the answers and the steps to do so already. But yeah, I just felt like sharing it, man. Fuck. If you wanna add something to the discussion, have something to bring to my attention, then go ahead. The comment section is there. And if you have reached this far, of course, thank you for listening and take it easy. Zane.